Peace family, you tapped into a very special behind the scenes episode of 19 Keys Media is what I'm gonna just call it. My name is BtsM2M and I am the producer of 19 Keys Media at 19 Keys Studios, and I'm here with a very special guest, Steve Jones. A lot of y'all know him, Man to Man podcast, a lot of accolades. I'm gonna do a formal introduction, but first I just wanted to start with, a lot of y'all may be wondering, why am I tapped into this specific episode, to this specific behind the scenes? Why is it important? And I always like to say, when people want to understand a little bit more about myself, I always say you have to understand my closest friends, my brothers, to really get a tap into who I am. You know what I'm saying? And so, the same goes for 19 Keys. I feel like, you see the content, you see the inspiration, the wisdom, the knowledge that he's putting out there, but to hear the perspective of two people that have known him from quite some time goes a long way to getting the full picture of some of the behind the scenes, some of the things that you don't see about who he really is. And who better to tap in with than the person who's typically behind the camera and the person who's the right hand man in Steve Jones. But Steve Jones is so much more, you know what I mean? And I definitely want to use this interview platform as an opportunity for people to really tap in and get another sight, another perspective on who you really are, you know what I'm saying? So
appreciate that.
That's what this is about. And without further ado, I want to introduce the people to my brother, Steve Jones from St. Louis, a self-published author, somebody who I just finished, I would say in the past month, 6 advancements in how I overcame trials and tribulations.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. My apologies.
See, look, you with somebody every day that don't know the name of the book. No, I'm just kidding, though.
But I tapped into the content, which is most important.
Hey, no, the most important thing is you bought the book.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. And,
appreciate that.
I really want to, first start off with, before we get into like all the details of who you are and, everything that you've been through. It's been a crazy month. We coming at the end of March right now when we filming this right now. Yeah. And we were just talking about, I think, yesterday, how crazy and how legendary this month has been.
Yeah, we've been on the road like non-stop, you know what I'm saying? We just left, we went to London, caught the last train to Paris, went back to London, then came to New York for the Breakfast Club, went to LA, shot some more footage for the Man to Man podcast. Now we back in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't stop. But that's a good thing, though, man. You got to stay busy to get to where you really want to go,
Absolutely. And just, I think, you kind of nonchalantly said that. All the places we went to, Paris, London. I mean, we got the country with it, man. New York, the Breakfast Club alone.
Two different countries, you know what I'm saying?
The Breakfast Club alone, is like, a big moment. And I got some behind the scene footage of you talking about that. And you were just talking about how proud you were of Keys and, just being able to see him, waking up early in the morning, focusing, going in on researching and gaining knowledge and being able to really have the work ethic to tap into, people and, to see where he's at now in terms of being on the Breakfast Club, which, for somebody like yourself and all the challenges you went through, like, at some period in time in your life, the Breakfast Club is something you tapped into every morning when you was in the cell, you know what I'm saying? So like for him to be there was such a big moment. And I just want to kind of rewind a little bit and not let you just nonchalantly say that about all the places we traveled and take it back to, being in St. Louis, give the people a peek into, just how far you've come in terms of like where you were at, in terms of some of the situations that you talked about in your book, to being traveling how we are now, moving how we are as a unit, as a team, and really progressing and growing as individuals.
Yeah, first of all, everything that I'm doing now today is I gotta give all that credit to God. First of all, the Most High. I came a long way, bro. Real talk. Just growing up in St. Louis. Like, if you ever Google St. Louis, you'll know that we got the #1 crime rate in America. And just growing up in that environment, I came from a life of crime. At an early age. I grew up running the streets with my cousins. And, you know, of course, you know what I'm saying, as I got, you know, to teenagers, adolescent years, I started hanging with my friends in the street because, you know, I grew up in a single mother home and whatnot. I had two sisters and my mom, she took care of us. My dad wasn't, you know what I'm saying, in the house, but we know we had contact or whatnot. But I couldn't sit in the house with these women all day fussing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I went out in the streets and found me some friends, you know, around the neighborhood. And that's how I met 19 Keys, you know. And 19 Keys and them had that, you know what I'm saying, he had a lot of brothers. And I had like a brotherhood that I always wanted because I grew up in the house with sisters. I couldn't
Females,
really,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying, vent to them the way I, you know what I'm saying, that you had conversations with, you know what I'm saying, young men. So that's how me and him gravitated to each other. And that was when I was like 13, 12, 13, one of those years. And, you know, of course, you know, growing up out there, we got off into a bad activity, a bad start. You know what I'm saying? But that was before, like, I ever had knowledge of who I really was at the core. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to, you know, running, you know what I'm saying, just getting caught up in the gang life, selling drugs. It became addictive. You feel me? Like, to the point, like, you know, as a young man anyway, you know, you want to make your own money. And I was seeing like the older guys from the neighborhood, they was selling crack, getting money, got the new shoes, you know what I'm saying, the women on them, they in cars. So I was attracted to that, you know what I'm saying? And everybody around me was indulging in the same shit, same low level vibrational shit, you know what I'm saying? And somehow I just end up being like one of the main characters that played in that role, you know, in that whole environment. I was just the guy who come to for the drugs, you know what I'm saying? All that street shit, like. But as I got older, past adolescent years and started transitioning to the adulthood, that's when I, you know what I'm saying, started reaping the consequences of, you know what I'm saying, that whole lifestyle as far as going to jail and being shot. And, you know what I'm saying, experiencing, you know what I'm saying, some of my closest friends dying or whatnot, you know. And, you know, fortunately, 19 Keys left that environment a little sooner than I did. I got caught up in it too long, you know what I'm saying, ended up catching different cases, drug cases, gun cases, going back and forth to jail. You know what I'm saying? Spending years in jail on top of that at a time, you know, being on probation. I did like 10 years on probation. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Like, they tried to Meek Mill me every time I'd be close to getting off. I catch another case in a different county, which made me eligible for probation in that new county. Yeah, run it together. Now them years keep adding up. And I finally, you know what I'm saying, you know, Keys had moved back to I want to say Oakland at the time. He moved back to Oakland, but we always kept in touch, and he'd tell me like, bro, leave St. Louis, get up out of that city. And I had all the excuses in the world, like, man, look, I can't leave, I'm on probation. I still got these phones and shit, they ringing, you know, I can't leave, you know. But I'm talking about, like, bro, I started going through so much trauma, and you know what I'm saying, so much bullshit in the streets that one day when I finally got off probation after them 10 years, that specific day they let me out papers, I moved to Oakland. That's when I met you. So I came out there with Keys, you know, this was in 2017. And, you know, I called myself changing my life at the time, you know what I'm saying, like real life dedicated to that. 2018, I go back to St. Louis to visit, and I get locked up from a warrant from 2017.
That you didn't even know you had.
I didn't even know I had it. Just went back to visit. Had a warrant. I got pulled over and got locked up. I did 3 years in jail. And that's when I real life found who I was at the core during them 3 years in jail.
But that's I don't want to cut your wisdom, but that's what I wanted to get to because I think, you know, a lot of people, I think they hear your story and they look at like, you know, the trials and tribulations, all the challenges you went through, and it's like, okay, you got to a breaking point, you went through so much and you changed your life. But from what I know from the stories that you've told me and just from reading your book, and I definitely encourage everybody to read it because I think anybody from any perspective can gain something from this. You know what I mean? It's a perspective book for sure. and just taking you into like your experiences and your situations. But like going through like the earlier years, like before this last bid that you did, I wanted to talk about that because not only for yourself but also for Keys, because you know I hear you talk about so many times like, you know, even though y'all were doing things that were you know, doing what you feel like you had to do at the time. Even though you were doing
exactly
those things, you
we
still had a
always had
presence,
it.
a deeper vision. Because like that's what I wanted to do is rewind. Like right now, we in the midst of finishing off a legendary month. You know, of travel, of experiences, of, you know, just people tapping in, of so many things that have happened in this legendary month. And like I think that it wasn't just the last bid that like, oh, all of a sudden you switch things around. Like there was still something in even back then. You know what I mean? So talk about, I just want you to just shed some light on like
I'm
that
gonna
experience.
take you back. Shit, these adolescent years, getting real deep with it now. You know what I'm saying? Like adolescent years, it's 13 through 17, 18. I want to say, you know, we come from St. Louis. We come from a hood called B Block, which stands for is BBLOCC, which stands for Botanical Bloods and Lopes. Our Cliques Connect. That's what we call B Block or whatnot. Some of us was Crips, some of them was Bloods, and we was young. You know what I'm saying? So it was a point in time in our neighborhood where we used to the Crips. I was affiliated with the Crips, and we used to beef with the Bloods. You know what I'm saying? But it became like to a point was like we literally stayed on the next block, share the same alley. So it was like, man, look, we might as well join forces. You know what I'm saying? And that's when we came up with the name B Block, Botanical Bloods, Lopes, our Cliques Connect. And we all just started hanging together. It was a whole bunch of us, you know. And like I said, we ventured off into drugs, selling drugs or whatnot. But me and Keys bonded because, you know what I'm saying, we just, I feel like, I can say it now, like I feel like we had a higher intellect than everybody else who was around in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was my partner who I hustled with, who I spent most of my time on the block with. Me and Keys, we used to hustle or whatnot, and as we stood on them corners selling hard drugs or whatnot, we always talked about the future. Like, we knew this wasn't the shit that we wanted to do all our life. You know what I'm saying? Just running from police or having beef with the other hood that's close by, you know what I'm saying? Different shootouts and shit going down and whatnot. We knew, like, man, we can't be living like this, you know? I knew I didn't want to live like that, you know? So we used to talk about the future and how we was going to, you know what I'm saying, leave this shit alone. And, you know what I'm saying, go to college, you know what I'm saying, try to make a way for us, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't really have much growing up, so that's why we was hustling, you know?
Do you feel like, you know, that was something that was unique to you all? And like, what do you think made that unique, if that's what you think? Like, in terms of like
You want to
having
know
that
what
vision,
made it
like,
unique?
compared to everybody else?
Because, like I said, bro, as a man, you always should want more for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And we grew up, we didn't really have much. Like, my mama was a single parent. Don't get me wrong, like, we wasn't poor, but it's only so much that a single parent can do for 3 kids, you know what I'm saying, by herself. So, and then, you know what I'm saying, as you getting older, all adolescents, bro, when they reach 13, they trying to find themselves and fit in with the crowd. And the way to fit in with the crowd is the peer pressure shit kick in. You know, I want to be fresh too. I don't want to be talked about. So the only way, I know I can't ask my mama to get me the Jordans every week now. So I got to figure it out. And I'm going to do what my friends do. I'm going to start mirroring their characteristics. I was seeing you know what I'm saying, the people who was around. Fresh, got gold teeth, getting money. That's what the women was attracted to. I wanted to be that. You know what I'm saying? And shit, so we figured out a way to get it. Fast, quick, you know what I'm saying? Fortunately, at that age, I can say we didn't get caught doing what we was doing, but we the smartest shit that me and Keys did was we applied for college and actually got accepted into college, you know? So, and I felt like at the time that was like a badge of honor because then nobody where we was at ever went to college. They didn't even talk about that. But me and bro knew, like, bro, we got to go to college, do something different, get out this whole environment, or we going to be walking up and down the street Shaw all day, every day, you know? So, shit, we went to college. We ended up going to Missouri Western, you know, that's in like 45 minutes outside of Kansas City. And when I got to the school or whatnot, I didn't know what to expect walking on the college campus, but when I got there and I arrived, I actually fell in love with that shit, bro. It was something different. It was far away from that, you know what I'm saying, the drug-infested environment that we was just living in for the past few years. And I just knew, like, this is where I wanted to be. This is how life's supposed to be. I was on honor roll and everything, you know, but I still had that low-level mindset to the point where I started selling marijuana on the campus, you know. I came out there, you know what I'm saying, I was just selling marijuana and crack before that, you know what I'm saying? So I came to college with that same mindset, even though I was still book smart. I probably was the only one on honor roll out of all of us in college. I real life was, you know, but I was addicted to that fast money, that lifestyle, you know. And one specific day, Keys laugh at me all the time, and one specific day we go to the mall, and at this particular mall, we everybody on the college campus used to go to this mall and steal a little outfit or whatnot, because they didn't have cameras. They was rehabbing the mall at the time. But one specific day, me and Keys go to the mall, and I tried to steal like a little pair of glasses. Now Keys telling me like, man, put the damn glasses back, man. You don't really need to. I got a pocket full of money at the time. He telling me like, man, put the glasses back, but I ain't listening, because this is what we do on the college. We go to this mall, we get an outfit, everybody leave. That's what we do. But this specific day, I got caught taking the glasses. The lady called the security without, you know what I'm saying, telling her she had already called him. So I'm trying to spin her like, nah, I didn't take no glasses, whatnot. Security walk in, they pat me down, and they find 2 bags of weed on me with a lot of money. Now they let Keys go because he, you don't know, of course he ain't had nothing to do with it. But they took me to jail for the marijuana. But I'm still not tripping, because I'm like, man, I'm bonded out. There's another 2 bags of weed. But they came to my cell, and they was like signing some papers for us to search your residence. And I'm like, no. Shit, I got caught at a mall. Why you want to search my residence? Come to find out, the little bags of weed that I had, they was like the little special kind of bags of weed with the money signs on them and shit, little fancy bags of weed. So they figured that I was selling drugs since I had them packaged in that. And since I didn't sign the search warrant for them to search my residence, I was living on campus. They took a dog instead. Now the dog went crazy when they took him past my door. They gave the judge probable cause for them to search my dorm room. And I ended up being stuck in jail for possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Not mention I was on honor roll and everything, so now I'm like, damn, I got a high-ass bond now. I got a bond out of jail. I ended up making my bond, getting out of jail, but I got put out of college for getting caught on campus with marijuana. Even though I was an honor roll student and I made the front of the paper out there and everything, it was so embarrassing. I feel like I had let everybody down back at home, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody was proud of me. They was rooting for us. We actually went to college, you know. I don't think I made it through the first 2 semesters. Real talk, I probably made it halfway through the 2nd semester, ended up getting caught with marijuana, getting put out of school. And now this is where I caught my first case. You know, so now I'm going through the court proceedings, and I tried to get a job while I was out there to show the judge that I changed, but I still had that low-level mindset that this wasn't enough money for me. I was used to the fast money coming in, you know, so I ended up leaving, going back to St. Louis. And that's when I went back to selling hard drugs, you know what I'm saying, selling the crack or whatnot. Start getting my money back. I felt like selling drugs was my only skill set once upon a time, which it was, you know what I'm saying, and it really wasn't, but that's what I believed at the time. Like selling drugs.
That's the only thing you applied.
That's the only thing I put my energy into.
Yeah.
Selling drugs, bro. You know, and when I went back, that's when life like got more real in the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's when I started experiencing, you know what I'm saying, people dying around me and shit. You know what I'm saying? I end up having a daughter or whatnot when I came back or whatnot. But right after I had a daughter, I want to say like 3 months after that, I had got shot in my leg. You know what I'm saying? And even like going through that, bro, that shit still didn't change me. You know what I'm saying? I think getting shot the first time I got shot, bro, it actually made my spirit more darker. If that makes sense to you, you know what I'm saying? It made me feel like if everybody, like, man, I can't trust nobody. I'm paranoid now. I know how it feel to get shot. So I started carrying guns, like bad, like real bad. Just carrying a weapon with me everywhere I go.
I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but I feel like so much of that, you know, it's a relatable story to whether you in St. Louis, whether you in Oakland, where I'm from, or whether you know, any hood, you know, in America. Because what I'm hearing, one of my biggest concepts in life is short term versus long term, and like you hear so many times, like in these stories of really like when you break it down, what I hear is like you live in so day to day. You know what I'm saying? You live in like even what you said, fast money. You want to get it now, now, now. Nothing is really long term. Nothing is really like the long term vision and the bigger impact. You know what I mean? And it's like even what I originally asked you about, like just that whole like what made you unique, what made you and Keys, I should say, unique and different from everybody else, and like the way you kind of carried yourself, and always having like, yeah, we're doing this now, but like there's this other play.
To expound on that, after catching my case in college, I lost that whole vision. After I got put out of college, I lost that vision of like it'll be a better future. I felt like after once you catch a drug case on a college campus, you got to pay for college out your pocket. I can't get no more fast for no more, you know what I'm saying, scholarship money, none of that. I got to pay for college out your pocket. Growing up, bro, you knew like college was expensive. I knew I ain't had the money to pay for college, but I knew like I had to take care of myself now. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, I obviously I ain't finna get no degree no time soon. So I lost that whole vision that I was gonna be one of these guys that got a degree, get a corporate job. I lost that whole vision and went back to the basics at the time, you know. And I started living day to day. And at the, you know what I'm saying, in 2008 and 9. It was even the music, bro. It'll come out and it'll tell you like we living for the moment. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just enjoying real talk, like living day to day.
In the trap, yeah.
In the trap. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, like I wasn't thinking like high level thoughts at the time. You know what I'm saying? I was like so immersed into that environment that shit like wasn't even on my mind at the time. I just knew I had to make it home.
Yeah, and if you read the book, you know, as your story progresses, there's multiple times you get shot. There's multiple times you get back in jail. There's multiple like it doesn't get, you know, there's a lot of dark times. You know what I'm saying? Like just being honest, and definitely tap into that book and really get the details. But there's a lot of dark times. What brought you out of that? You know what I'm saying? Like what was it? I always say like one quote that I always have is, "Be inspired, aspire, and inspire," because I feel like it's a cycle. It's a circle of almost motivation, if you want to say that. I always say that it's a skill to be inspired. You know, like, because when you're in your dark spot, when you're in a down spot, to be able to receive information, whether it's from a book, whether it's from a podcast, whether it's from a movie, whether it's from just everyday life, whether it's through your situations, to be able to take something that's like, you know, a regular occurrence or whatever and take it as an omen and be inspired is actually a skill that you can develop and sharpen and take to be able to, no matter what situation you're in, be able to react positively. And once you are inspired, then you aspire to do something. That's what inspiration does. Like you get inspired, you want to do something, right? You have that aspiration. And then once you're doing what you're doing, somebody else could see that and they get inspired, you know? So it's like the cycle. So I'm asking you, like, through all these dark times, like I said, multiple times of being shot, multiple times of being in prison, multiple times of being in these dark places, dealing with addiction, dealing with all the different challenges that you've gone through and that you break down in your book, what is it that, if it's one thing or multiple things, what is it that helped get you out of that place and bring you into the light?
Now, from that darkness to light, it was a long journey. Years.
Yeah.
Like a year journey. So I can't even tell you. I can tell you multiple things. But I'm going to take it from the darkness. I'm going to take you from the darkness to the light. First time I went to jail was, you know, the college situation. I didn't do no time for real. I only stayed in jail probably 2 days, and I made bond.
Right.
Once the case was over with or whatnot, I took probation, and they gave me like 15 days shock time. So when them 15 days, I didn't learn my lesson. Can't nobody learn a lesson in 15 days, so I didn't take this shit serious. I got a slap on the wrist. I got 3 years probation. If I complete the 3 years, it's not on my record. So I didn't really like, you know what I'm saying, take that serious. So when I went back to St. Louis after that case, I had my daughter. 3 months later, I ended up getting shot in my leg. And after I got shot that first time, it showed me how much like people don't have like how much people have disregard towards another human being in the world, bro. You know, like it's some people out here who
The
don't
value of life.
like they don't value other people's life. They would real life take
Which
your
really
life.
shows that they don't value themselves.
Yeah. And that shit had me so paranoid, bro. Like, I was real life scared, bro. Like to even move around my city, bro. Like I knew, like I wasn't going through this type of situation again unless I'm the one with the gun now, you know. And that's how I started thinking. That's what it turned me into. And long story short, a couple months after me getting shot, I ended up getting caught with a gun. I got caught, and I did about 2 years in jail. But those 2 years in jail, right? I technically want to call that my first bid, and I didn't learn shit when I was in there, bro. You know what I did that first bid, bro? I sat in there and I observed the way everybody else was acting, and never mind, I was about 21 at the time, so I'm seeing the people my age, you know what I'm saying, getting into fights, basically making a name for themselves, you know what I'm saying, inside the jail. And that's how I felt like I had to be. I had to be one of them guys that's trained to go on point all the time, going back into the hole, fighting, you know what I'm saying, on site type, just on bullshit that whole bid. Arguing with your girl on the phone, trying to keep up with her. That's what I spent my whole bid doing that the first time. And it was this one specific correctional officer that I used to get into it with all the time doing that bid. But toward the end of my bid, after doing almost like 2 years, coming up on the 2 year mark, I knew I was getting released. And you know what I'm saying? So I was about to get released. And toward the end of my bid, me and that correctional officer quit getting into it. And he had walked up on me and he was telling me, he say, "Steve, you a good dude for real." He say, "But you know, the first time you go to jail, it might be a mistake. The second time might be a coincidence, but the third time you come back in this place, it's a pattern and you will be in and out here for the rest of your life." And I was 21 at the time. I ain't really like going depth with it, you know what I'm saying? I let the shit really go in one ear out the other. And sure enough, a couple years after that, I went to jail again. Bro. And that bid, I was a little more like, I want to say, how can I explain this? The second time I went to jail, like, I was a little more worried because I knew my consequences was going to be more severe. You know what I'm saying? I was on probation already. I was on probation, did 2 years, came back home on probation again, caught another case, you know? So I knew, like, man, I got a great chance of going to the penitentiary this time. But luckily, I didn't go to the penitentiary. They ended up giving me probation again because I had completed my last one, you know, which made me eligible. And I didn't, you know what I'm saying, basically, long story short, I didn't read no books, and then I only tapped into urban novels and still talked to people with low-level conversations, bro, you know. But that last time I went to jail was the most serious, you know what I'm saying, cases that I ever had. And I was facing a life sentence. You know what I'm saying? The real talk. And I just did 3 years on that case. And when the people told me, you know what I'm saying, when their first recommendation was life, in my mind, I felt like I got to get ready for 2045. So I real life quit telling myself that I was in jail and that this is college now, so I got to read all the self-help books I can read. I got to read all the financial literacy books. I got to of course, I got to communicate with the younger people to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying in the world.
So
But
do you feel like that was like, again, because the question was, you know, what kind of brought you to the light, and I know you get into that, but you know, the earlier question I had, or the point I was making, is like long term versus short term, and then it seems like what you're saying is that you realize that you may be in there for a long time.
once I realized my life, like this can be it. When people tell you that you facing life in prison, bro, like what's next? You know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, I was like, man, I can't let my life. This can't be it for me. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all that I had been through, and I realized skip the part. Before I just went to jail this last time, when I told you I came back to St. Louis and whatnot to visit, I found my cousin dead. You know what I'm saying? My right hand man, who I used to be with every day. It's my cousin, like blood cousin, my dad's sister's son. You know, we grew up together literally. And I actually found him unconscious and whatnot, tried to get him to the hospital. And I went to jail a real like 15, 20 days after that. So I didn't have no grieving time or whatnot. So I real like went in jail, like fuck everything, fuck the world. I didn't cut, bro. Like that's how my spirit was just done, bro, after that. But when I went to court and they told me I was facing that time, that's when like my common sense kind of clicked back in. Like, bro, you gotta tighten up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta create a new vision, bro. I can either sit in here and dwell on all the pain in the past, or I can start creating my new life in here. And that's what I actually did, bro. Like even like reading self-help books, I started applying it while I was sitting in that cell by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I started meditating. I started listening to gospel music. You know what I'm saying? I started chilling with, you know what I'm saying, the Muslim man that was in there. We'll meet around the table every night around 6 o'clock, and we'll read the Quran or the Circle 7, and we each got to break down the chapter of what it means to us and how it apply to us. And that shit kind of started building my spirit back up, you know what I'm saying? It started giving me hope and faith again, and I had lost my hope and faith for a long time. So when I started doing that, I started feeling better, you know what I'm saying? And I knew like, man, this must be what I've been missing, you know what I'm saying, throughout the past few years. I wasn't going to church and all that no more, so I wasn't doing nothing to feed my spirit in between that time until I started going back to jail, until I went to jail that last time. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, I feel like, and you know, just even being able to call like a person like 19 Keys from jail and just have a, you know what I'm saying, a talk with somebody who not talking about the streets, that was even more motivation, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I know people who grew up the same way I can, who doing something positive in life. I know we came from the same start. I know I can do the same thing, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people, and you know, Keys talk about this, but a lot of times people see where he's at right now and they disregard and make assumptions about where he's from and what he comes from.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really important message, like you're saying right now, to hammer home, is that, you know, it don't matter, like, you could be from whatever street in America or internationally, you know what I'm saying? Like, and especially this day and age, like, it's not even like needing somebody who, you know, it helps when it's somebody who is your brother, who's your friend, that you grew up with, that you went through the same struggles with, that's doing something else, doing something positive, making something of themselves. It helps when it's like that close to home. But even if it's not, you know, even if you in Memphis, even if you in Detroit, you somewhere out there, but you tap into somebody, whether it's through social media, through YouTube, whatever, who has that story, who's been through basically where you've been from, and has made something of themselves, that's all you really need to see that it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, that it is possible. You know what I mean? And
see, I wanna add to that. Yeah, that's true that you need to see it, you need to visualize it and see somebody else doing it that's close in your proximity. But at the same time, I think as an individual, you gotta have hope for yourself first. I think that's the main thing. You gotta have that hope and you know what I'm saying, and drive to even want to move from the darkness to the light. Because a lot of people are real like content with where they at.
And that's no, I think that's dope, and I think, but that's the key of what I was, you know, attempting to get at, is like, what gives you that hope? You know, whether it's like being inspired, whether it's like, you know, just what gives you that hope? Tapping in, looking at a long-term view.
What gave me my hope, I can really speak for myself, what gave me my hope was I started picking up books. Real talk. I started picking up.
What made you pick up the books is just looking at it from a long-term perspective. Is that it? Like you just looking at like the prospects of you being in there for so long and like this can't be it?
Remember what I told you earlier, like I felt like selling drugs was my only skill set.
Mm-hmm.
I knew like when they told me I was facing all that time, I wasn't coming back home selling drugs, bro. Like I knew that was over with for me. Like so I wanted to cultivate my mind to do something different. And being in jail, I ain't had nothing but time to cultivate a new skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's what I did. But one book that real life changed my life and made me know like for sure once I get out of this place. You know what I'm saying? If it's in God's will, if I make it out of this place, was a book called The New Jim Crow by, I want to say her name is Alexandra or something. I don't know. I can't get the author name right now, but it's called The New Jim Crow. But once I read this book, I used to have people, you know, instead of putting money on my books, I'd tell them to send me a book instead. I'd rather get food for thought instead of commissary. Like, that's what I preferred. But my sister sent me this book, and it took me like a month to even pick the book up, bro. The book was like this thick. I'm like, man, I don't really want to read this shit, you know. But one day, I walked in my cell. I'm like, man, I'm finna sit down and read this book. Man, I read this book, and the way that she broke down the way America was set up to keep black men and black people in general in a lower caste system, through the criminal system, through the abolishing of you know what I'm saying, segregation. You know how they try to colorblind segregation. They actually told us that they stopped slavery and cut it out segregation. They're gonna integrate everything, but all they really did was reword it. So, for an example, during segregation, you know, black people couldn't drink at the same water fountain as white people. Black people couldn't vote. So now it's the same thing. It's just it ain't called segregation no more. It's called felon. Once you become a convicted felon, you can't vote no more. You can't work at this place in corporate America. Even if your family living on low-income, you know what I'm saying, on government assistance, a felon can't be at that house. You know what I'm saying? So they created the ghettos and put us in these high-risk situations to lock us up and put that felon on your name. Once you got that felon on you, you'll be segregated out of America forever, out of corporate America forever. Real talk. Even when you fill out a job application to this day, they ask you, is you a convicted felon? You put that yes on there, you're not getting that job. You know what I'm saying? And once the way that she broke it down and explained it to me, let me know, like, I really like been a pawn all these years playing in these people game on this field like that. Ain't no way. Once I learned that information, it kind of unlocked keys in my mind to know, like, oh, they strategically set this shit up like this. So I quit feeling bad for myself while I was in there, like, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, I must have made a mistake or something. Nah, this shit was strategically designed to keep us in the lower caste system. So once I got that knowledge, I felt like it was my duty to pass that on to my brothers or the next person that's sitting in the cell on the side of me, you know. Some people wanted to receive the message, some people weren't ready for it. But now I feel like my mission is dedicating to helping young black men especially rise up out of that lower caste system and show them that it's something better, you know, real talk. Because I seen people who came from that lower caste system with me aspire to be something greater, you know. So now I'm on the same path. And it's been working for me since I've been home, real talk.
Yeah, I think about, you know, when you say all that, I think about, I believe it's Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy is what it's called. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's the right name, but I'm not 100% sure. But it goes to the whole point of, and I'm paraphrasing, but there's a set of hierarchy of needs, you know what I'm saying, before you can reach an ultimate level of reaching your true actualization or enlightenment, you know what I'm saying, which is the biggest goal. Like, that's the biggest, highest level that you can be on, like doing what you're, being who you are in your fullest purpose, living your fullest purpose, doing all those things. But if you're at the bottom level, it's like a pyramid. If you're at the bottom level where, you know what I'm saying, all you're trying to do is eat, you know what I'm saying, back to the short term, long term, a dichotomy that I was talking about earlier. If all you're trying to do is eat, then it's like the analogy: if you in the jungle or you running around and it's lions who's chasing you, you don't have time to sit by a tree and just read a poem. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to run from the lions and make sure you survive.
But it's an old saying, old ancient saying that goes, the lips of wisdom is sealed except to the ears of understanding. You know what I'm saying? So basically, long story short, you ain't gonna get that wisdom until you ready to realize, until you realize start seeking it and ready to accept the wisdom. Because people give us signs all the time.
Omens.
They give us them omens all the time. You be with me all the time. My cousin who I found deceased or whatnot, his name was Bull. Everywhere we go,
you see the bull.
I see a bull. I don't care if it's we just seen it yesterday. What was it? A barbecue packet, but it was a bull brand or whatnot. I was all way in London and ran into some crazy shit. Like I see a symbol of bull. So these omens.
First time you told me that he passed, we went to the gas station and seen the bull. Like that's the first thing that we seen.
That was like a real tricky night.
Yeah.
That was tricky, bro. Like that was crazy, but just what I'm saying, just me paying attention to the omens now, not even just symbols out here, just conversations that I have with somebody. Yeah. It'll be something that I already been thinking about, but now I'm hearing it from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And
it hits harder.
It hits different because you know what I'm saying. It's like now I'm seeking this. You know what I'm saying? But I see it that it's coming on my path. They say everything you want in life gonna come to you through people, circumstances, and events. You know what I'm saying? People, circumstances, and events. Real talk. But you gotta be aware of your surroundings at all times. And you're gonna miss all them omens if you under the influence, bro. If you got your mind distorted,
not ready to receive it. That's we had these conversations before, but I always talk about The Alchemist because you were talking about the Jim Crow book and like in a similar way.
I read that too.
I know we talked about that, and The Alchemist has always been a big book for me, just in terms of being able to interpret omens and being able to be receptive to omens. Kind of like what I was saying about being inspired, aspiring, and inspired. It's a skill. Same thing with receiving omens. You gotta be able to tap in to your environment and receive it. Because so many times, bro, people, they think like speaking to God and, tapping into that level, you read like the Bible or the Quran, you see these stories and it's all this old stuff and it's like, you just pray at night and just hope God's gonna speak back. No, it's not like He's just speaking to you like, oh, this is what to do. No, you gotta tap in and listen to the omens around you.
For sure.
What is life telling you? And like you said, if you hear it someplace and then you see it again and you see it again, like everything is a sign. I always say nothing is
conscious mind, bro.
Exactly.
But like I said, bro, I was reading, bro, like studying, dissecting them books. I'm underlining, and I told myself I wasn't reading no urban novels, none of that. Like I only want a history book, financial literacy book, or I want, some self-help book. And that's the only type of books I tapped in. So I ended up getting a Charlemagne the God book. And it was just one thing that stood out to me in this book was a quote that he said, you gotta prosper where you planted. And I remember like one night sitting in my cell and I was like, you gotta prosper where you planted. I know I'm in jail, so what can I do really while I'm sitting in here? That's when I came up with the idea, I'm gonna start writing me a book. Yeah. At least, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I started writing, I came up with a rough draft or whatnot. I didn't fully write my whole book while I was in jail, but I kind of started on it, you know what I'm saying? I knew what I wanted to talk about. I created my vision board. I started looking at this vision board. I read The Secret as well. That's how I created a vision board. Once I created my vision board, man, I started meditating on this shit every night, bro. I remember specifically me putting a book on the vision board, me writing these quotes of my daily affirmation on it, and a couple of more things that I wanted to attain. I knew I wanted to travel when I got out. Yeah. And I even put a Rolls Royce coloring truck on it. But long story short, when I was released from jail, I accomplished everything on that vision board except the Rolls Royce coloring truck.
We don't get there though,
Real talk.
Manifestation.
Okay. And it was but now looking back from that vision board, I knew the only reason that I attained it was because I created the vision board, something physically that I can look at you know what I'm saying, and meditate on it and let it come in my mind. You know, I
Yeah.
gave birth to that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I thought about it so much that I got it out, put it in the universe, and it came through people's circumstances and events.
Absolutely. And for yourself, I don't want to, people can tap into the book, you know what I'm saying? If you really want
Yeah.
to tap into the story and everything, the trials and tribulations that my brother's been through, that he overcame, and the ways that he overcame them, it's a really powerful book. But, so many times, especially as you've been doing this, PR run, so to speak, for talking and tapping in and telling people about your book and, what it means to you and how it shapes your story. You talk so much about what you've been through and doing that and revisiting the book and just your life. What I want to talk about, as we wrap up is more about the present and the future, So, a lot of times if you see Keys, you definitely gonna see at least one of us, if not both, more times than not. And, I just want to give, if you can, like you already told people about who you are to this point, but like, just like, what do you think is the value that you add to Keys, and not only just to Keys specifically, but like for yourself right now in terms of what you do and what you see for yourself in the future? Like, who is Steve Jones right now today?
That's actually a great question. And I want to say this: when I wrote my book, right, I purposely didn't talk about my accomplishments or, you know what I'm saying, the lifestyle that they see me living now, because I actually went and got my LLCs and I started a brand called True Will. And, I used the pyramid and a circle for symbolism. It stands for mental transmutation. And, once you enlighten yourself with new knowledge, I also have a kangaroo in the middle.
Yeah.
And kangaroos can't walk backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I chose the True Will brand and whatnot. But I didn't talk about my accomplishments in the book or what they see now on social media, because the True Will brand is all about uplifting people to start a new journey. And once you start a new journey, there's no looking back. So I wanted people to actually grow with me. And I wanted people, like my accomplishments of the shit that we do now, I'll write that in my second book. But I want to show people, like, just get started on changing their life, So since I've been home, I've been more trying to uplift people, man. Just leave it. All the negative shit, toxic shit, just cut it out your life, because it don't do nothing but stagnate your growth in life. You know what I'm saying? Believe me, I've been through it. The addiction, being in this, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Catching cases going, but you got to keep resetting and start over, and that shit will tear you down and break you. Some people commit suicide. Some people end up, you know what I'm saying, getting caught up in a life of crime and not making it this far, But since my release from jail and me putting out my book, which was the smartest thing I ever did, because now I got a product that I can literally sell anywhere in the world, any time of the day. I've been traveling the world and experiencing, seeing different cultures now, you know what I'm saying? And it just opened my mind and showed me, like, how all those years I was limiting myself to the hood. Real talk. I just came from London, which, you know what I'm saying? And just me seeing their lifestyle and culture in London, it shows me how America is just a capitalist society. You know what I'm saying? They put us in these situations for, you know what I'm saying, just to gain money and profit. They don't really care how it affects you. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, spiritually, or physically. They just want the money over here in America. You know what I'm saying? But I needed to see that to compare and contrast. A lot of people don't get to leave America at all, because the guys I grew up with stuck on probation, they can't leave the state, the city. You know what I'm saying? So for me to see it, I feel like I'm a vessel to come back and explain that to them. You know what I'm saying? I can break it down to them in detail. Even, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people see me on social media, you know what I'm saying, traveling in the world with Keys, and they might see us with celebrities or whatnot. But I made it my goal not to put none of that in my book, because I didn't want people to just read my book to see, you know what I'm saying, the you know what I'm saying, the results, you know what I'm saying, I didn't want them to see, like, to think like I'm gonna put these celebrity names in my book to make, you know what I'm saying, to boost up sales and shit and make it seem like life just fun and gravy. I wanted to talk about the process of what led me up to this point. What led me up to this point was me during all those, you know what I'm saying, dark times, I never lost my integrity. I kept my principles and morals that whole time, you know what I'm saying? Which was the reason that me and 19 Keys got a strong relationship, you know what I'm saying? I never crossed none of my brothers or no type of shit like that or none of that, you know? And that just having integrity, even when you're going through darkness, will lead you, you know what I'm saying, to a better future. You know what I'm saying? Because life is all about relationship and people who you know. You know what I'm saying? And just by me having, you know what I'm saying, positive friends like Keys who never judged me from none of the shit I was doing, but always saw a better vision for me himself that I didn't see at the time. That shit inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Even being around people like that, seeing his work ethic. I used to watch him get up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be asleep, I'm getting up, bro, already at the desk, taking notes. You know what I'm saying? And just me seeing that and going to jail after that, I knew, man, I could be doing this same shit in jail. That's what I did, you know? Just by me having that vision in my mind, because all I can do is live off memories in jail. So me having that memory of seeing my brother get up at 6 in the morning, that showed me like, man, I could get my ass up out this bed and don't start on this book or something, or at least write a rap or something, you know, do something productive, you know. And like I'm just blessed, bro. Like real talk, just real like blessed. And another quick story I could tell. I remember one day sitting in jail. Like at this point, I had did 2.5 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming up on my three-year mark. And I called Keys one day, and he didn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, maybe bro busy or whatnot. So the next day I call him and he pick up and he's like, now I'm on the phone with my spiritual advisor. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna click you in, let you holler at or whatnot. And I used to get like a 30-minute phone call. But anyway, long story short, I'm talking to the spiritual advisor or whatnot for 30 minutes. But that 30-minute conversation was so powerful, bro. She gave me some, you know what I'm saying, some wisdom that I needed, some inspiration that I needed, because at that point, man, I was ready to give up. Just please get to some shit that I didn't do, just take some time to get rolling, you know what I'm saying? I was just ready to come home, you know? But this lady real life told me, she say, sometimes in life is like boxing. She say you get in that ring, sometimes life gonna knock you down. But when you get knocked down, it's okay to just lay there for a couple of seconds and catch your breath again. But get up, make sure you get up and keep swinging and finish the fight. And I needed to hear that, you know what I'm saying, it's that specific time. But she told me something that was so impactful and important, but she kept telling me that she was seeing a number 2 for some reason. She said it might not be 2 days, it might not be 2 months, it might not be 2 weeks, it might not be 2 years, but you coming home. And I ain't understand it at the time, like the number 2, you know. But I kid you not, bro, 2 months later, on the December 2nd, I ended up getting out of jail, bro. This lady don't know nothing about what I got going on. I never met her, and they just showed me like those omens are real,
Yeah,
man.
it's a
You
sign.
hear me?
Yeah,
It was
she
a
does
sign.
know, you know, because it was written.
And
And
then,
I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but we talk about this is like a sidebar, this is like an inside story. But we talk about finding you a name, finding you something meaningful as a name.
yeah,
And I just put into the world like I just feel like 2 is an important number for you, and there's got to be something connected to the number 2 in terms of, you know, a name. A higher meaning name for Steve Jones, you know what I'm saying? I just see that for you, but go ahead.
yeah. Man, I had so many omens, bro, come to me throughout my life, bro.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite omens that ever came to me, bro, this was like real life random. I ended up getting into a car accident, and I was going back and forth to the chiropractor. And this was around the time it was a point in time I was hooked to prescription pills, Percocets or whatnot. I had got shot, I got prescribed the Percocets, and they became addictive. So I get into a car accident, and in my mind, I'm like, man, they gonna give me some more pills. I'm finna go to the chiropractor, go through this whole process, because I really like wanted them pills. I was that addicted to them pills, bro. They was that strong. And thank God to this day I don't deal with none of that. No drugs. I can't smoke weed and none of that. Like I'm glad that I found my ability to say no to all that. You know what I'm saying? Now, today, but back then, this was around 2015, 16. But anyway, I go to the doctor for a checkup, and he lift my pants leg up, and he seen my bullet wounds, and he was like, "What happened?" And I'm telling him, I'm like, "Man, I've been shot." And he said I think the most impactful shit that anybody ever said to me. He said, "Oh, 17 cent, huh?" I say, what the hell 17 cent mean? I'm like, what that mean?
It's the value of the bullet.
He say, 17 cent. He said, that's all your life worth? I say, what you mean? He said, yeah, 17 cent. That's how much one bullet costs. He said, man, you are more valuable than 17 cent to have your life taken, bro. And that right there was like the eye opener to where I quit doing the pills and all that, because I realized that being on the syrup or whatnot, that shit had me distracted and distorted to so much that I wasn't even paying attention to what was going on around me. You know, I wasn't paying attention no more. But that specific quote that he said, 17 cent, and then I started realizing how many people that I lost to gun violence around me. I realized 17 cent. That's how much their life cost to be taken away, bro. And I knew, like, man, I can't go out like that. Because I always had a passion to do something greater, bro. And like, I always had that passion. Even when I was losing my hope, some in my mind was still telling me, like, nah, bro, you still got shit to do. You still got duties out here to fulfill. It was still people who looked up to me, you know. I didn't want to let nobody down. And I had a daughter on top of all of that, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that I had to become a better man for it. And just now me, with the accomplishments that I got now, man, like, you know, I got a song with Kyrie Irving. I traveled. Man, I just watched the Super Bowl with Mike Tyson on the side of Mike Tyson, Brandon Marshall, 19 Keys. Me being behind the scenes with you, doing the film and doing the podcast, traveling, you know what I'm saying, hanging in Paris with Earn Your Leisure. I know, like, I'm destined to be in this type of environment, and I'm blessed to be in these type of environments, you know what I'm saying, with people who actually working on something that's positive for the culture. Because with my True Will brand, I know that I need to be doing positive shit. I need to surround myself with more positive black men, you know?
Absolutely.
Real talk. And I'm just, like, sometimes, like, these days be real unbelievable. Like, right now, we having a conversation and I'm real life filming, knowing that where I came from. You know, it be unbelievable, but at the same time, I'm getting used to the cameras, and I want to get used to the camera and go through this and show people the process of it, because I gotta be. That's what my job is, to inspire other people, man, just to leave that low level shit alone.
Yeah, man. So, you know, there's a lot of times in your life, a lot of events, a lot of points in time where, you know, you were presented with a choice. You know, you're presented with an opportunity, presented with an omen. And, you know, I think not everybody, you know, very few can relate to your story. You know, very few have been to the extent of the traumas that you've been through, the challenging experiences that you've been through. Like, you know, I come from a 180-degree different side of the cloth, but I still relate to the sense of, you know, those moment of truth moments, you know what I'm saying, where it's like, take your opportunity. We all have those in life, like opportunities that come up, and like those fork in the road moments of you know, which way are you gonna go? Your life can go this way, or it can go that way. And regardless of, you know, what those challenges are for you, whatever you're going through out there, anybody who's tapped into this and watching this, who's still tapped in at this point, and make sure you like and subscribe, and, you know, tap in and follow and all those good things to make sure that you can, you know, increase the ability to get this good content out. You know how that algorithm works. But for anybody who has a chance to take an opportunity to better their life, to make that decision, to really like go for it. I don't even want to say better their life, to live their life, how it's supposed to be lived. Like, that's something I think a lot of us can resonate with and should take away. So, you know, at some point, you know, down the road, you definitely can get some more behind the scenes on me. I'll kind of break down my story and kind of how, you know, I took a different path, but a lot of things I resonate with. But as we wrap up this kind of behind the scenes episode on really who Steve Jones is, I wanted you to give a, break down to the people exactly like, something about you as they see you on the Man to Man podcast, as they see you in some of the behind the scenes, as they see you in all these things that you mentioned that we doing right now and traveling and places we going. What's one thing about Steve that you think people need to know, that they need to know about Steve Jones as they watching any content that got you in it, man? What's one thing?
One thing about me, I'm a Leo. I'm very loyal, and my greatest qualities is my resilience. I ain't giving up on nothing I do, and I'm dedicated to everything that I indulge in, you know what I'm saying? And it just so happened that now I'm on a positive journey in my life, and I'm dedicated to this shit because I see the results. I see the love and, you know what I'm saying, the reaction that I've been getting from people who've been knowing me from the past, telling me how proud I am, and I'm inspiring them, And that shit just, that's how I know I'm on the right path. Even when it be like, you know what I'm saying, with some people from the past who think I'm just going through a little phase or something, trying to change my life, and they ain't believing in me, they ain't bad a book or something, you know what I'm saying? I don't let it discourage me because I always meet strangers who show me so much love and support. And that's just, you know what I'm saying, that boosts my, what's the word? It releases those endorphins and, you know what I'm saying, I feel good, you know what I'm saying? I feel better, bro, not, you know what I'm saying, running from police and looking over my shoulder, not being in that environment. This the way I want to feel, bro,
Yeah, it's
real
a good
talk.
feeling. Yeah.
It's a great feeling.
I ain't gonna lie, man. One thing I'll say about Steve Jones is, when I was asking you that question, something that came to my mind, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on this is, I get the sense that, my name Amechi means only God knows tomorrow. And my first name is Brendan. My middle name is Amechi. The reason why I go by Amechi is because that's something I want to live by. Only God knows tomorrow. And it's like you hear like, YOLO, you only live life once. And, all those sort of sayings, it's like sometimes it's hard to, and I think I even asked you this question when we was in London, I believe. I think I asked you this when we were in London. Like, sometimes it's hard to live life to the fullest every day. We get boggled down. We get trapped by distractions. I feel like it's distractions that distract us from real life. And it can be hard to live life to the fullest every day. So I think I was asking you in London, like, what do you think are the things that kind of detract us? And, long story short, the reason why I bring this up is because I feel like with you, I don't know if it's because of the experiences you have. I think that's a common thread of, people who go through a lot of challenges, they appreciate things more. And the more you appreciate things more, the more you add value to them. The more appreciation you show to something, whether that's a relationship you have, a situation you in, your job, your purpose, whatever it is, the more appreciation and gratitude you show for it, the more value you bring to it. You know what I'm saying? Tangibly. And it's like, I think that a lot of times, like, people get boggled down by, just various, like I said, distractions. But I've just noticed that for the most part, the time that I've been, and especially as of late, the more we've been, growing together, working together, really moving as a unit and as a team, it's like you very rarely get shook up off of something negative. You know what I'm saying? Like you pretty much like, even if it's a challenging situation, it's like logically what's the solution? But I'm still living. We this is something that maybe we couldn't even been dreamed about, years ago. We out here traveling all these places, doing all these great things. This is our lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted you to comment on that in terms of, being grateful. You know what I'm saying? Having that perspective. Because I feel like you have that.
I got two keys, bro, that the reason I am how I am, bro. With me going through everything I went through in my past, I've been shot 3 different times. 3. So I cherish the shit out of my life now, bro. Like, I know, like, those 3 times. And not even mentioning, you know what I'm saying, the things that I got away from. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like today I just cherish my life, bro. But it's 2 things that keep me going. I got a lot of tattoos. Yeah. But one of my tattoos say Hakuna Matata, which means no worries for the rest of my days. And I mean that shit. Like if I got it in ink, I believe in. That's
real.
what I believed at the time, or that's what I still believe in to this day.
And that's exactly what I'm
And
talking about. That mentality. You
that
have that.
Hakuna
Yeah.
Matata, like I real life don't worry because I feel like if it's a problem, it got to be a solution to it. And if it ain't nothing I can do about it, then why am I worried about it? Ain't nothing I can do. And if it's something that I can do about it, why worry about it? Just do it.
Have you ever heard the Serenity Prayer? It's
No,
God, you know. I hope I'm not
God grant me
paraphrasing.
the strength,
God grant me the serenity.
serenity.
God grant me the serenity to. I might have to look this up because I don't want to butcher it. But it kind of goes to what you're saying about just being able to control the things that you can control, and the things that you can't control them. So
Ain't
why
no worry
you know what
about
I'm
it.
saying?
And then you remember I said I got two of them, but the second one was I don't count the days, man. I make the day count.
Yeah.
And basically, long story short, man, I'm not finna be worried about how long it's gonna take me to accomplish a goal. I'm always take this specific day and do whatever I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? How much energy that I gotta put in for my vision that day, I'm gonna get that done. I ain't gonna worry about how long it's gonna take me to reach the results. Cause I can always look back and be like how far I done came. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's gonna keep me going to those results. So I ain't counting the days. I'm gonna make the day count. I'm gonna put all my energy into what I gotta do to help keep the Keys brand going, help keep my brand going, to make sure everybody around us be in positive vibes. You know, I'm the one that's gonna crack the jokes and all that. We gonna laugh through this shit. We gonna get through it, but we gonna handle business at the same time and execute. Real talk. So that's what keep me going. Real, just and like I said, I got a daughter, so I want to be a better man, not even just for her, but for myself. I know it's a version of me that I ain't met yet that I want to meet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and I don't have my phone on me, so I can't bring up the exact serenity prayer, so I'm gonna leave y'all hanging. But I believe it's God grant me the serenity to change the things that I can change, the strength to, remain persistent in the things that I cannot change, or not change, the things that I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm butchered that, but it's something along those lines. Y'all get the vibes.
So don't quote me on that.
Exactly,
You know
exactly. But I would say, this is an ongoing, conversation. I wanted to, film a podcast today, and I had the whole thing set up, so I was like, let's not waste it. I think, as we close up, man, like I know so many filmmakers, creatives, directors, producers out there who that Kanye West documentary was so important for, because I think it really just showed the value of content in general.
So hold on. We real life, it's 4:18 in the morning.
It's 4:8. Let people know. Yeah,
it's
4:18
Tuesday, March 29th, 4:18 a.m. in the morning. And we got to get on the flight in the morning.
Yeah, we got to leave in about 3 hours.
But we working, we ain't counting the days, we making the day count. That's what I mean by that. Like we real life putting in the work, in the hours, the time, the energy, whatever we got to do.
What I always
keep
say,
going,
add
bro.
value. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever we got to do to add value. We got the shit set up, so we gonna give y'all some content, but we always making sure that we putting out none but quality content that's gonna uplift our culture. I don't want to see no more black on black crime. I don't want to see none low level. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear about baby mom, baby daddy jump. Forget the problems, eliminate the problems. We gonna focus on the solutions over here. So I need all my young black men to tap in, and black women tap in and go and grab my book, 6 Advancements, How I Overcame Trial and Error. And you can, hopefully it'll inspire you or prevent you from indulging in the things that I used to be into. So you can skip that whole phase and just start focusing on the thing, those negative habits that I replace with healthy habits, Just focus on the healthy habits and, get on your verge, on your journey, on your true will, or start following your true will. Real talk.
Yeah, man. I said earlier, inspire, aspire, and inspire. I be inspired, aspire, and inspire, I should say. And you look at Steve's story, and I think there's a lot of people out there who's tapped in, who's tuned in, that I hope you're able to take some inspiration from this. You know what I'm saying? And not just some inspiration, but buy the book, take some tangible steps into how you can make certain changes, and use that tangibly to change your life, because you can. I always say, you can always react positively. I'm all about positive energy and good vibes, and it's there's never a situation, right, where you can't react positively. All you can do is react in life. Life is events plus your reactions equals your outcomes. And so many people think that they control the events, they control the outcomes. If I do this, no, the only thing you control is your reaction, period. And you can always react positively. You know what I'm saying? And I think Steve Jones, my brother right here, is an epitome of that. And just like he said, with loyalty and dedication and not giving up, I can attest that, you know, he 100% is about all those things. And I'm just excited to continue this journey of growth, to see what's, you know, next for you. I got so many ideas, man, so many pieces of content, whether it's the, you know, I don't want to give people, you know, a sneak peek into too much, you know what I'm saying? We're just giving them an appetizer, but this is the behind the scenes of, you know, a lot more to come, not only for yourself, but for myself too, as I start to open up more, because, you know, I'm usually behind the camera, but I can get in front every now and then. So, but I definitely appreciate you tapping in with me, having this conversation this late at night, you know what I'm saying?
And one last thing before we leave, even if you don't go get my book, just pick up a book. Pick up a book, real talk. Let's say, you know what I'm saying, if you want to have something from, you know what I'm saying, us, our skin color, put it in a book. And that shit is straight true, like real talk. Once I picked up the book, I found all the keys that I needed to unlock my mindset from the pessimistic thinking to turn me to an optimistic thinker, you know? Real talk. So just pick up a book, you know what I'm saying? Even in my book, I gave you a couple books of recommendations and whatnot to go check out. So it's a good book, a good read, short read, and it ain't boring, man. You're gonna learn some shit about me that you was like, wow, you wouldn't even knew that I even been through that until you read that book. You know, the way I carry myself, you know, I don't let my past control me. I'm not held hostage by the past, you know what I'm saying? I'm in control. I'm creating a new life. It's
always
a new
got
me,
a choice.
new Steve Jones, because it's all about your reactions.
There you go. There you go.
Tap in.
There you have it, man. Behind the scenes, Steve Jones, BtsM2M. It's positive energy and good vibes. Peace, family.
Peace.